Okay. Mayor de Blasio and honored guests, good morning and welcome to the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and thank you for joining us on what is an extremely exciting day for us. I'm David Ehrenberg, president of BNYDC, the not-for-profit that manages and develops the Yard on behalf of the city. Through our programs and initiatives, we support the 330 industrial and manufacturing companies that call the Navy Yard home, as well as the 7,000 employees that come to work here every day. We are joined today by Councilmember Cumbo, whose support was extremely important in securing the necessary funding for this project, as well as other local elected officials, including Representative Velasquez, whose support has been extremely important to us throughout the years, as well as State Senator Squadron, who's also with us. Thank you all for being here. I must also thank our other financial partners in this project. The Robin Hood Foundation, whose support has been critical to the development of our employment center, as well as Goldman Sachs, the New York Regional Center, and Dudley Ventures, who are providing debt and equity to this project. There are members of our board here, including our board chair, Hank Gutman, who have obviously been extraordinarily important to the resurgence of the Yard over the last few years, as well as this particular project. And finally, I want to take a moment to call out the BNYDC staff and team, who often behind the scenes pours their heart and soul into the Yard and to ensure that we can deliver for our tenants, their employees, and the community. Since the beginning of the year, the Navy Yard has pursued initiatives to meet the mayor's mandate of expanding the middle class, ensuring economic opportunity for all, and supporting entrepreneurs and small businesses. The two projects being announced here today are two of the largest such initiatives, and will together allow us to further our mission of large-scale but community-based economic development like never before. The foresight, vision, and leadership of Mayor de Blasio and Deputy Mayor Glenn is driving progress at the Yard, progress that will only accelerate in the coming years and ensure that there are economic opportunities for all New Yorkers here at the Yard. Without further delay, it is my honor to introduce the Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, David. Thank you for your extraordinary leadership as the president of the Brooklyn Navy Yard. This facility is such a good news story, and you have continued to deepen that tradition. It's something all New Yorkers are proud of. I want to thank the chairman of the board of the Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corporation, my good friend Hank Gutman. And I want to thank, of course, our deputy mayor for Economic Development and Housing, Alicia Glenn, for her tremendous leadership. This is an investment she believed in deeply, and it's quintessential to what we're trying to do to create quality jobs for the long run for this city. Now, Brooklyn Navy Yard is such a great example of how to do things right in the modern economy, how to create businesses that make sense in terms of the economic needs of today, how to employ a lot of people at good wages, and to ensure that people from surrounding communities get maximum opportunity. That's what the Brooklyn Navy Yard's been all about. It has continued to get better and better each year, literally. The idea has grown and grown. The impact of the Yard has grown and grown. The willingness and desire of employers to be here has grown and grown. And what's interesting is the Navy Yard is the epitome of something very, very quintessentially New York, the ability to reinvent, the ability to figure out where the future is going and get there to great effect. The Brooklyn Navy Yard, if you had come here decades ago, was the largest or one of the largest Navy Yards in the country. It was in its heyday a place that employed tens of thousands of people. It was in its heyday a place that probably people believed would continue to be a Navy Yard forevermore, and a shipbuilding facility forevermore. The world changed. And what the city of New York did, to its great credit, is saw a new use for the Navy Yard that was very dynamic, that moved with the times, and the successive leaders of the Navy Yard have built upon that over and over again. So if you want to have a snapshot of the vibrancy of the New York City economy, the dynamicness, the ability of the economy here to see the future and react to it and move with it, here you find it at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, which is now a vibrant hub for modern manufacturing, for technology, for the things that will define our future. Today, I'm very pleased to announce a $140 million investment by the city, by the Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corporation, by the Brooklyn Borough President and the City Council, more than $73 million of which is from the city directly. And this is for the ongoing transformation of Building 77 where you are today. This is an extraordinary building. Building 77 is a real centerpiece of the yard, 1 million square feet. It's literally 25% of all the built space in the Brooklyn Navy Yards. This is a pivotal facility, and what will be created here will be beautiful, environmentally friendly, 21st century workspaces, ideal for next generation enterprises. One new tenant is FXE Industries, which is creating the next great motorcycle. Ed Jacobs, where are you? Ed is creating the next great motorcycle here in Brooklyn. Now, Ed gets a lot of different credit here. He's creating it in Brooklyn. He went to Pratt, a great Brooklyn institution, and he likes this place because it has all the resources and facilities he needs to build his business, and it's just a short commute from his home in Bushwick. So there's a Brooklyn trifecta here. You do good. Thank you very much, Ed, for what you're creating. Now, the city's investment is about more than just the physical building and the businesses that will be here. It is about jobs. It is about building the economic future for our people. From the beginning, our vision is about the growth of our economy, the creation of jobs, the creation specifically of jobs that are high-quality jobs, good wages, good benefits, the kind of jobs that can sustain families. And that's what you find here at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. When this building is completed, it will increase employment at the Navy Yard by more than 40%. 40% on what's already a great success story. And we're committed to making sure that a significant portion of these jobs go to local residents. And this is something the Brooklyn Navy Yard has done a great job at, a focus on serving local communities. In the past 3 years, the Employment Center here at the Navy Yard has helped more than 600 New Yorkers find jobs, 24% from the surrounding community, 21% are public housing residents. We've gotten help from the Robin Hood Foundation, which we appreciate, and with that, the Yard will expand its employment center so it can do even more. The project we're announcing today, the investment we're announcing today, is part of our broader mission. It is part of going full square at the income inequality crisis, at the inequality gap in this city. This is the way you address these problems head-on, by creating these kind of quality jobs and making sure there's real opportunity for those who need a good job to get connected to them. This is one piece of a strategy that will have many pieces. Some of it is starting at the beginning in our public schools with pre-K, with after school. Some of it is the investments we're making in CUNY, in STEM programs. Some of it is what we will do to specifically help industries grow in this city, and we've talked about so many industries that are thriving here that do offer those high-paying jobs that we're doing a lot to facilitate so they can build here. We're doing other things, of course, to help keep pushing up wages and benefits, like paid sick leave law, like the living wage executive order. All of these pieces are necessary. I want to emphasize that. They're all necessary. No single piece alone will address the inequality crisis. All these pieces are necessary, and they have to keep building over time to reach more and more people. And through our economic strategy, we are focusing smart investments of city funds in projects like Building 77. They'll yield, this is what we're looking for, a project like this that yields a large number of jobs and high-quality jobs in terms of wages. We'll be doing more of this across the city. Places like the Brooklyn Army Terminal and the Hunts Point Market, both of which have even greater potential that we want to tap into. So when I talk about one city rising together, I want you to think of a place like Building 77. I want you to think of the Navy Yard, where people's lives are being transformed right now. And this is what we came here to do. A few words in Spanish. Hoy estoy anunciando que la alcaldía invertirá $76.8 millones de dólares para ayudar a reurbanizar edificio 77 en el Brooklyn Navy Yard. El nuevo edificio 77 tendrá espacio adicional de trabajo para empresas innovadoras en Brooklyn y también creará 3,000 puestos de trabajo. We all want more puestos de trabajo. Yes. So, all right. With that, good. You were next. I was about to let you skip the line there. Okay. I am pleased to say we've just been joined, and we welcome Borough President Adams, Deputy Mayor Glenn, Councilmember Steve Levin, and Senator Montgomery. We welcome you all. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce a man who's working every day to help us create good jobs for all Brooklynites, Borough President Eric Adams.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and I just want to thank all of my colleagues here on the city and the federal level. This is just an awesome opportunity on how we utilize the Navy Yard and retrofit it for modern times. This yard has history of building the Navy ships that saved our country during the major battles, and now we have the opportunity to create jobs that will ship our products across the country and across the globe. It is a great initiative. I'm happy to have contributed some of my capital funding to this project. Great things are going to happen in the borough of Brooklyn, and we're leading the way with initiatives like this. Again, Mayor, thank you for this great opportunity.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to welcome Council Member Steve Levin, who has been a vocal advocate for the yard.
Thank you, Mayor de Blasio. I want to acknowledge your tremendous work and vision here at the Yard. I want to thank Deputy Mayor Glenn, David Ehrenberg, President and CEO of the Navy Yard, and Hank Gutman, the Chair of the Board. I also want to acknowledge our Borough President, Eric Adams, and my colleague, Lori Cumbo, on the City Council, all of whom have contributed capital funds to Building 77 to make this project possible. I want to acknowledge Senator Montgomery and Senator Squadron, as well as Congresswoman Velasquez as well. This is a really monumentous day because what this is saying to the City of New York and to the entire country and the entire world is we have the vision and we have the ambition and we have the ability to be forward-thinking in the 21st century when it comes to our economy and jobs here in Brooklyn. This has been a real success story over the last few years at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and that success is going to continue. And this investment is the clearest indication that we are moving forward, onward, and upward, and this is going to continue to be a great success story for many years to come. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And now, Councilmember Lori Cumbo, who's worked very hard to ensure there's real economic opportunity for her constituents here at the Navy Yard. Lori.
Thank you. Thank
Would you
you.
like the step? We can give
Yes,
you
I would like
I think
the
the
step.
step would be called for.
Anything to
There
give
you
me
are.
a little bit extra
You're even
height.
taller now.
There we go. Thank you, everyone. Protocol has been established, and one of the things that I thought was so humorous about today was that I got all of these emails about coming today about not wearing high heels. Make sure you don't wear high heels. And I said, as chair of the Women's Issues Committee, I want to make sure that you also express that to the male colleagues that will be joining us today. But I'm very happy to be here today because this really represents tremendous growth and opportunity. And for this administration, working collaboratively with the City Council, with the Borough President, with our federal, state, and city elected officials, this is really such a huge victory and such an incredible win to be able to create 3,000 jobs that'll be available to so many residents in our community within the next 3 years. This is going to be an incredible build-out. It's going to crystallize our identity as a center for entrepreneurship and a place where dreams and visions can come true. And I'm so excited about all of the different companies that will grow and create and expand all over the world. One of the things that was very important to me in this initiative is that as a council member for the 35th Council District, I wanted to make sure that this was going to be an opportunity for our residents in Walt Whitman, Ingersoll, and Farragut, and our NYCHA public housing development developments, that they were certainly going to have job opportunities as the growth and development of Brooklyn continues to happen. This is going to be a tremendous opportunity for them to participate in the growth that's happening right across the street from the developments. So that was an important part of my commitment that I wanted to see moving forward with this particular initiative. And another thing is, as a new council member, to be able to put forth this type of effort in collaboration with my colleagues in government, this is really incredible. This is what Brooklyn is all about, and I so can't wait until we're opening up our doors to so many new opportunities and so much growth that's going to happen in the borough of Brooklyn. Thank you very much.
I'm going to call up Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, first telling her please do some English and some Spanish, and letting you know Nydia has been fighting on behalf of the Navy Yard for many, many years. This is nothing new for her. And as the ranking member of the Small Business Committee in the U.S. House of Representatives, she knows a lot about what we need to do to facilitate the kind of businesses that will make Building 77 their home. Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, and Mr. Mayor and the Director of the Navy Yard, Edinburgh, the Chairman, Hank Gottman, the members of the City Council that share this Brooklyn Navy Yard, Steve and Lori, and to all the elected officials, Eric Adams, Velman and Montgomery, and Senator Squadron. It's a great day for Brooklyn, and clearly we are stating that small business is big business in the borough of Brooklyn. And if we want to narrow the gap in terms of income inequality, this is how we do it, by creating 3,000 well-paying jobs. But the fact of the matter is that there is something special about small businesses in America, and it is ingenuity. That is what drives us here. This Brooklyn Navy Yard was a warehouse of so many empty buildings, and here we are with a vacant rate that is close to zero. It means that we have to invest in other parts of Brooklyn. And I am so excited to represent this borough, but more excited about the fact that we are working hard in New York City, and Washington should take notice that we need to work in creating a climate that is conducive for small businesses to thrive. And that is exactly what we have been doing in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. So congratulations, Mr. Mayor, and to all the elected officials. It is a great day. Thank you. Muchísimas gracias y buenos días. Sí, hoy es un gran día para el condado de Brooklyn. Tenemos los representantes electos del City Council, Sandy Levin, Lori Combo, los senadores Velman and Montgomery, Daniel Squadron, nuestro alcalde y el chairman, Hank Gottman. I'm very proud of you, Hank. Estamos aquí en este edificio creando oportunidades para generar 3,000 trabajos que van a ser importantes para reducir la desigualdad que existe en términos de los ingresos que generan nuestros trabajadores. Es un gran día para los residentes de Farragut Houses y otros viviendas públicas del condado de Brooklyn. Estamos creando 3,000 trabajos que van a ser increíbles para los residentes de este condado y sobre todo los pequeños comerciantes de este condado que siguen creciendo. Estamos muy orgullosos de todos ustedes. Gracias.
Gracias. I want to call up two state senators who have been great supporters of the efforts here at the Navy Yard. First, Dan Squadron.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much to David Ehrenberg and Hank Gutman for their vision, to Mayor de Blasio and Deputy Mayor Glenn for their vision. 3,000 jobs is a very big deal. To all of my colleagues in government who have been supportive, this really is the future of New York. Unless there be any doubt about it, it is such a big deal that we all agreed to wear these hats today. Thank you very much, and I look forward to more.
You win a prize. Senator Velman at Montgomery.
Yes, thank you. I just also want to join all of my colleagues who've been thanking David Ehrenberg. David, we thank you for the vision, and the President Gutman, we thank you. This has been a very, very long. Today, while we talk about 3,000 jobs, I think that the more important issue for us is we thank the mayor because this is an investment in a model as to how New York City can become once again a leader in terms of our economy, how we develop jobs, how we create opportunities for the kind of industrial growth that is required if we are going to be providing the possibility for lifting all boats in our city. So we thank you for the vision. This is one of the many things that you've done, the many advances that you've made in terms of how the Navy Yard is going to be very, very key. This model, and I hope that this is how our city is going to move forward, and I really compliment and commend our new mayor because he is now investing in where we're going for the future. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, David. And I look forward to voting for you. And let me say this. Thank you to my colleague who has allowed me to continue to say that I represent the Navy Yard. I really don't. This is Senator Squadron's Navy Yard, but I claim it. So thank you very much.
Finally, and she will not need a step stool. It's for admirable height.
Thank you.
Dana Brown. So Dana is an example of everything good that's happening here, and I want to first of all say it's because of her own initiative, her own vision for her own life, that she is a success story. She lives here in Brooklyn and Bed-Stuy. She's been engaged with the Employment Center over the last year, and the Employment Center folks deserve credit for helping a smart and capable young woman like Dana to find the right path. And what she found this last September, or this September, wait a minute, the one that just was. This September, 2 months ago, she got a full-time job with M&D Doors, a manufacturer of fire doors. It's the kind of job that's going to allow her to move forward. It's the kind of job that helps people build their futures. And with the expansion of the Employment Center, you're going to see more success stories like this. It's my pleasure to introduce Dana to you.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to start by saying good morning. My name is Dana Brown. I'm 23 and I've lived in Flatbush, Brooklyn all my life. I've been supporting my father and little brother for a number of years now on my own with no children. I currently have an associate's degree in accounting, business administration, that I obtained from ASA College, and I plan to go back to school to finish my bachelor's shortly. I see myself as an ambitious, perseverant, hardworking, and outgoing young woman who strives for greatness every day.
All right.
Amen. Put that on your resume.
Thank you. I currently work for M&D Doors as a junior estimator. I came across the Brooklyn Navy Yard while in between jobs. I was actually introduced to my position by the Employment Center. After 2 successful interviews, I was offered a full-time position as a junior estimator at M&D Fire Door. And I now am one of the junior estimators who helps to quote and price hardware jobs, for bids that we receive from different architects and construction companies. I've learned how to read architectural drawings, different types of doors, frames, different types of door hardware, how to price them, quote them, and receive those prices back and enter them in a way that we can send out proposals to receive revenue for the jobs that we're preparing. I love what I do because I get to work independently as well as collaborate with the senior estimators at my job who have helped me grow as a person and just also in my position where I knew completely nothing. I would like to say in the long run, I see myself growing and expanding with the company as an employee and as a woman. And definitely have hopes of one day becoming a senior estimator and definitely continuing to grow with my company. And I would like to give a big thank you to Rona SBU, who helped me find my position. I would also like to thank everyone else at the Brooklyn Navy Yard for even creating a place where I could come to receive employment assistance and as well as employment placement. So a big thank you to everyone here at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And I'm very pleased and flattered to be here, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I can safely say, Dana, you are a young New Yorker we are all proud of.
Thank you.
And you're an example to a lot of other people that they can make their way to what they dream with some hard work and a little help from their friends. So Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take questions on topic first, then we'll go to off topic. On topic.
Mayor, I was wondering if maybe you or someone else could talk a little bit about the history, a little bit more about the history of this building, what it was used for. There's so much rich history around the Navy Yard.
This building was built in the run-up to World War II. It was actually built in about 6 months. The bottom 11 floors were storage space. The top 5 floors were the offices of the Commandant of the Yard, where they oversaw the wartime efforts during World War II. Most recently, it was used as extremely passive storage. There were perhaps a couple dozen jobs in the entire building. We took it back now about 4 years ago or so and have been planning the redevelopment ever since.
And storage during World War II or before that?
It was the general supplies necessary for the ships. It has been reported that it was a munitions depot, and it was apparently not, according to our historians.
There are no munitions here.
Right.
If you're concerned. Yes.
Can you elaborate on how this expands upon what was planned previously? I see that in the release that there was evidently something already proposed here. How does this?
That's right. The original plan was about half the size, both in terms of cost and in terms of jobs that would have been created. Effectively, it would have left the bottom floors of this building without windows, which meant that it would have to be returned back to warehousing and distribution uses, which are not particularly job intensive. And so we took a time out on the project, redesigned it, and then working with the city, secured the additional funding necessary, as well as our council people and borough president necessary to add windows and life safety, more elevators, everything necessary in the building to support that many additional workers.
Okay, on topic. Yes?
The building next door is green roofed with an urban farm. Is there a similar plan for this structure?
That is certainly in our in the planning stages right now. We have not fully designed all elements of the building, but we have spoken with the Brooklyn Grange, who operates the farm across the way, and we are planning out the required infrastructure that would be necessary for a green roof. Yes.
Sorry. What's the timetable for this? And also, I noticed that the companies you mentioned, the motorcycle design business and the one in this release, the medical lab, appear to me to already be tenants perhaps in the Navy Yard. Yep. So, I mean, is this just shifting them to a new space?
So in terms of timing, we expect to deliver the building in 2016, mid to late 2016. This building will be a mix of existing yard tenants and new tenants. We have been 100% occupied for 10 years. Today, we literally have not a single square foot to lease at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And we have not been able to keep up with the demands of our existing tenants as they've wanted to expand and grow their employment. So we will certainly be going to our existing tenants and and moving them into this building, either out of their existing space or just expanding into this building. We will then fill the space that anybody moves out of course, with smaller companies. This, though, we do believe will get us in front of the curve for the first time in 10 years, where we will be able to bring in new tenants into the yard.
Just want to add a note as a layman. This place is hot as can be, and any space that's created here will be filled. That's the reality. There's a huge demand to be here. On topic, going once. On topic, going twice. There's always the person who likes to raise their hand just at the end of going twice. That person's not here now. Okay, we're going to off topic.
Mr. Mayor, your office put out a statement regarding Rachel Nordlinger's decision to take a leave of absence. Can you explain what exactly is involved with her leave of absence and if she'll be paid or not paid, or how?
No, once she goes on the leave, she will not be paid. Of course, it's a leave. She made the decision to focus on her family, and I respect that decision for sure. There'll be a period of transition until she takes the leave, but once she takes the leave, that means she is no longer on the payroll. Obviously, that's an open-ended dynamic as she works on, trying to make sure she can do all she can for her family.
Do you know how long the leave is?
No, it's indefinite. It's indefinite so that she can focus on what's her first priority.
Are you sorry that it's come to this?
Of course, look, I could get into a larger discussion about public life in America today. I would only, and I think you probably all don't have enough time for that, so I'll make it simple. I think she's a hardworking public servant who's tried to do good throughout her life. I think the notion that somehow in modern society, not just your own actions, but your girlfriend or boyfriend, your own teenage child, somehow all of this is fair game in the public discourse. I think something's gone wrong here that we need to really look at. It's going to be very hard to get good people into public service if we continue on this path. Now, maybe there are some people out there who like that fact. Maybe they want to discourage good people from going into public service. I, for one, think that everyone deserves some measure of privacy in their private life, even if they are a public servant. Yes.
Two-part question. What do you plan to replace her and give the First Lady a new Chief of Staff in her stead? And two, this may seem like a silly question, but can you explain what the Chief of Staff to the First Lady does kind of on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. First of all, the First Lady will make a decision about her own Chief of Staff. From my understanding, she'll bring in a new person because obviously this is an open-ended leave. I think the notion is that my wife plays a very, very active role in this administration as chair of the Mayor's Fund, as someone I consider a crucial advisor on a whole host of matters, as someone who represents the city of New York in a variety of activities around the city, events, et cetera. She played obviously a very leading role in our efforts to secure full-day pre-K, for example, and she'll continue to work on a host of areas. So, and I will say, with great admiration for her, she's in demand in a lot of different places. So the notion of the Chief of Staff is to organize all of that work for greatest effect on behalf of the people of the city. My wife is a public servant who, for whatever reason, has chosen to take no money from the people of New York City to be a public servant. And she gives of herself for free. And she does a lot of work on behalf of the people of this city, and I think she's doing a great job. So her Chief of Staff is the person who obviously organizes that work with her.
The state GOP chairman was quoted today saying you're running for president in 2016.
This is one of the more surreal moments I've experienced. When the state GOP chairman is telling you what I'm doing in my life. I am entirely honored to be mayor of New York City. And at some point, we'll talk about, when the time is right, re-election to this post, and that's all I'm doing.
Mayor, will the new Chief of Staff be paid the same salary?
It will depend on the situation.
In her statement, Rachel referred to people trying to derail the administration. In a statement from Reverend Al Sharpton, he spoke about smears and things like that. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to the public tone around this entire controversy, and also what you think has been coming from the police unions, who are people who obviously you'll have to be negotiating with. I mean, they've been sort of out there on this issue?
Look, I separate the negotiation process at all times, and I've been very upfront with all of my friends in labor that whatever they do publicly has no bearing on our negotiation process. If some people think they're creating positive pressure for themselves with their public pronouncement, they are sorely mistaken. We negotiate on behalf of the people. We negotiate on behalf of the taxpayer. We think about what's right for the long term of the city. They can have all the pronouncements and protests they want. It doesn't affect our negotiating position. On the public discourse, we're all mature adults here. This is a lot of really nasty stuff was done here. It is clearly for a purpose. It's quite obvious. Why would so much attention be given to one person and her personal life? It's clearly a pretty systematic effort to undermine certain work that's being done. And we're not going to be dissuaded by that one bit. You know, it's like, do whatever you want to do. We're going to keep doing our work. The people want us to do our work. We're going to keep doing it. Wait, who hasn't gotten in? Rich.
You talked about the new park that's being built over the Hudson,
sure,
and the amount of money that's being given by some private citizens in order to, and the money that the city's putting into it. What do you expect the result of that to be, and how long do you have any idea how long it'll take to
I can't give you the exact timeline. I think it's going to be a great deal for the people of the city. I think it's going to give us a lot more park space in that part of the city that people can enjoy. It's going to be fully open to the public. And look, I know a good deal when I see one. If someone offers us a lot of resources to create something we need, and with minimal investment by the city, I think that's great. And what I'll insist on was already in the plan, that it be available to all, and it is. Okay. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, are you and the First Lady expecting Ms. Nordlinger to return to the administration at some point in the near future, and is she welcome to?
Well, first of all, again, attempting to get facts through. It's an indefinite leave because she's attending to family issues, and I don't think any of us knows exactly how our family dynamics play out. So, point one, it's an indefinite leave. Point two, it's a leave. By definition, she is welcome back to the administration if she gets to the point that she decides that's the right thing to do. As I said, the actual chief of staff role will need to be filled, but there's plenty of other important work to be done, and she brings a lot to the table. Who does he? Jen?
When you talk about people,
I think that's Jen, but with the hard hat. Forgive me, I'm not 100% sure.
When you talked about people trying to derail the work that you were doing by smearing Rachel, what exact work do you think was in jeopardy by these, going forward?
Guys, I really am not going to spell it out too much longer. I think it's pretty obvious. We've seen this. We saw this in the 1950s. We've seen this throughout the history of this country. If someone wants to smear people and use that for political purposes, there's a pretty easy playbook for doing it. It's repulsive, but it's become quite common. The idea is that for those of us who have a sense of mission, we're not going to let it stop us. So character assassination happens every day in public life. What's sad is when it goes beyond the boundaries of the public servant and starts to be something that can include anyone they ever met, any family member, anyone they're romantically involved with, their children. It's something, look, you guys do what you want to do. But for the rest of us, as citizens, as people trying to make this city better or this country better, we have to get on with the work and not be putting so much time and energy into one person's personal life when we have things like affordable housing, job creation, education to talk about. The public doesn't want to talk about these scandals and gossip and everything else. They want to talk about what will make their lives better. And I, for one, am not going to be distracted. We're going to work on the issues of helping people's lives in this city. In the back? No, not right now.
Mayor, do you just feel that all of this, Mayor, do you just feel that all of this about Rachel is just simply, in your opinion, not newsworthy at all? None of it?
I think it is far, far overblown. I think it's perfectly fair to say if a public servant does something that people have concerns about, that's great. But again, when you start going into a child, when you start going into a boyfriend, where are we going? Where are we going? Does everyone would you all like to have that discussion about yourselves? You're in the public eye. Something's wrong, guys. Something's really wrong here. This should be about the issues. It should be about the substance. It should be about what we're trying to achieve for people. So I'm very comfortable with the fact that we have brought together an extraordinary group of people to do hard work on behalf of the citizens of this city. They're giving their all to try and make people's lives better. We're going to stay on the mission, and I wish there was more time and energy and space devoted to affordable housing and job creation and education and things that actually affect people's lives. Yes, sir.
If I may, sir, you talked about this being a matter of someone's son. At the same time, many people in the city associate your success in the campaign, with your commercial with Dante, with your relationship to your children. Do you see how a connection?
No, I don't, because I ran for office. That's a very, very different dynamic. Again, if you want no one to become public servants, keep doing what you're doing. Maybe some people want it that way. I think the bottom line here is, if someone runs for office, okay, we're putting ourselves out there in a way that's very different than 40 years ago, right? 40 years ago, your family life was considered personal. People kept to certain ground rules. Now, apparently, there are no ground rules. Not surprising, a lot of people don't want to go into public life. I would ask you all to consider what effect that's having on our city, our state, and our nation, if you're interested. But when it comes to a public servant who signs up to work as an appointee, I'm sorry. It's just not the same thing. Their child should not be our interest. That's the bottom line. Thank you, everyone.